Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. How is everyone doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing well. In this video, guys, I want to talk about something that I don't think I've really ever discussed on this channel, and that's movie soundtracks. I talk about movies all the time, and I might mention in videos, hey, you know, this also has a good soundtrack, this and that, but I don't think I've dedicated a single video or just one video to soundtracks. And more specifically, I want to talk about my favorite type of soundtrack, and that's going to be the synth, like electric sound, ambient electric synth sound. It's been one of my personal favorites ever since I've been watching movies. I've always just think it creates such a great mood. And I got 12 movies here in my collection that I think really have a really good electric synth sounding soundtrack that really just brings in the whole tempo of the movie, the mood of the movie, and just creates the perfect atmosphere for some of these movies that I think would be great on like Friday or Saturday nights. And I just kind of want to go through it, and I may do some other ones where I just talk about other soundtracks, this and that, but I'm going to specifically talk about synth, electric, ambient type music in this video. And like I said, I got about 12 movies here, and everyone in here is also a really good movie. There's nothing in here I'm talking about where, hey, this is a great soundtrack, the movie's not so great. I like every single one of these movies that we're going to talk about. You've probably heard of most of them. There might be one or two you haven't, but I'm pretty sure you've heard of most of them. You've probably seen most of them. You've probably heard the soundtrack from most of them. And there are some that are missing. There's some that I don't have in my collection that are very, very good that I don't have, unfortunately. So that will not be in this video. But I'm going to talk about these ones, and I'm going to try to go pretty quickly because I just realized I don't have a lot of battery time left. So we're just going to kind of go through really quick. So let's get started so we can hopefully get this video done before my camera dies. So the first one we're going to talk about is a movie that Tangerine Dream did the soundtrack for, and that's the movie Legend from 85, maybe 84, somewhere around there. It has Tom Cruise. It's kind of a fantasy horror type movie, and Tangerine Dream does the soundtrack, and it's just a fantastic synth soundtrack that really just captures the mood of this film very perfectly. I remember watching this movie as a kid, and I remember really liking the movie even, or not, well, the movie too, but even the soundtrack even more, even when I was a little kid. So this is a fantastic soundtrack and a fantastic movie. I highly recommend it. So I'm probably going to go through these pretty quick. I just don't want to run out of battery and have to do this again later. Next one is one that maybe you guys maybe haven't heard of, maybe have, I don't know, and that's Miracle Mile. I bought this movie as kind of a blind buy, and I watched it, and I thought it was phenomenal. A very unique, very cool movie with a fantastic soundtrack. This is also Tangerine Dream. Tangerine Dream was huge in the 70s and 80s for doing some movie soundtracks. And they're all pretty good, and this one's no exception. I definitely recommend checking out Miracle Mile for the soundtrack and for the movie. The next one is a movie that I just bought, and it's a more modern movie, but it's got some cool synth in it, and that's The Last Video Store. This movie is really cool. I just talked about this one not that long ago on my channel. It's kind of a throwback to video stores, 1980s, 90s video stores and B-movies. This whole movie isn't a synth soundtrack, but there are definitely a lot of synth music in it. Definitely worth your time. And of course, we can't really talk about electric music without talking about one of the masters of electric music, and that's John Carpenter. And we're going to talk about The Fog. This movie, and I've told people this in a lot of other videos, that this movie kind of is just a fun little simple movie. This movie reminds me of a movie that like John Carpenter owned one more movie to like a studio company, and they're like, okay, you owe us one more movie on your contract, and he just busted out this fun little thing, and that's what this movie kind of reminds me of. And it has a great atmospheric electric synth soundtrack, which just really ties the movie together and brings in the more creepy eeriness that the imagery has, and brings in the music, and it makes it that much better. Next is a movie that I absolutely love. I have not had a chance to watch this on 4K yet. In fact, I haven't even opened it yet. This is a great movie with a great soundtrack, and that's Ryan Gosling in Drive. This movie is amazing. I mean, you can tell just by looking at this that it's probably going to have some sort of like synth, electric, ambient type soundtrack, and it definitely does. I highly recommend that movie and that soundtrack. We're going back to John Carpenter. These next three, we're going back to John Carpenter. You got to talk about them. Like Tangerine Dream, John Carpenter, when it comes to electric music, you got to talk about it. And that's The Terminator in this beautiful steelbook. I'll show you the back of that too. I've shown this off on here. This is a great movie with, once again, another fantastic soundtrack that really just pulls everything together and creates a perfect environment and vibe that you want through visuals and music. It's fantastic. Another John Carpenter one we have here is Escape from New York. This movie is great. Just the style of electric ambient music he uses in here to kind of just fill the airwaves with this post-apocalyptic surroundings, visuals that he has. He created this just not even that complex, just very kind of simple, but very effective synth soundtrack that works perfectly with the environment in which they are in that movie. And then the last one I got here for John Carpenter is the original Halloween. This has definitely got an electric soundtrack to it. The main song, you know, you got the piano and whatever, but it's probably more on the keyboards. And when I first saw this, I was like, I didn't remember it having as much like electric kind of sounding like soundtrack. But then I went back and I rewatched it again this last time. I was like, you know what? It really does. This has some great stuff in it. I kind of forgot some of the music, and then I went back and watched it and really paid close attention to the music, and I didn't realize how good the entire soundtrack really is, and it just creates the perfect mood for this movie as well. And bravo, John Carpenter, man. He creates some great ones, and there's some other great electric sounding electric soundtracks that he's done for other movies that I'm not even talking about in here. He's the master. Him and Tangerine Dream are really, really good. And speaking of Tangerine Dream, we are going to go into another soundtrack that they did. I just watched this on 4K recently, and it's beautiful, and that is Risky Business. Another Tom Cruise movie. I got like 2 or 3 Tom Cruise movies in this little stack we're talking about. And this is another one, just perfect, kind of neon sounding 80s synth rock. I would say more like synth pop, not really synth rock, but it just really creates the atmosphere in which they're going for in this movie. It's fantastic. Tangerine Dream does a fantastic job with that soundtrack. And this might be the last Tangerine Dream one I have on the list, and that's Michael Mann's Thief, which this movie is getting a 4K release in a couple of months. I'm very excited for it. This movie is fantastic. It's a very early Michael Mann film, and it's well worth your time. Another one that I don't own, so I'm not talking about it, is it Manhunter? I think it's Manhunter, who I believe Tangerine Dream might have done the soundtrack for that. I could be wrong, but that's another one with another great soundtrack and a great movie. But unfortunately, I don't own it. But this one is definitely worth your time. If you don't own it yet, just wait, because it'll be on 4K in a couple of months. I would definitely wait, because there's some great visuals in that I think are going to look fantastic on 4K. We're down to the final two. This next one is one of my all-time favorite movies, and it's futuristic, and the soundtrack is perfect. The electric ambient soundtrack is just amazing. That's Blade Runner. If you do not own this movie and you're thinking about getting it, don't waste your time with the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray's okay. Get this 4K. This 4K is fantastic. The Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack, not soundtrack, but 4K is phenomenal as well. But yeah, this looks beautiful. The soundtrack is great. That synth, just electric sounding soundtrack just brings you right in and creates a perfect atmospheric mood. This is a great movie for like a stormy, rainy Friday night. Definitely check it out. And the last one is a 4K, but for some reason it's in a weird kind of like clear DVD sized case. And that's Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop is great. This has got some synth music in it. It's not really very moody. It's more kind of upbeat sounding type synth, but still synth nonetheless. And it does create a perfect atmosphere for what they're going for with this comedy. I have not opened this yet. I got this during a sale, so I have not seen what it looks like on 4K, but this movie is amazing. The soundtrack is great. Now, the whole soundtrack is not like synth music, but there is a good amount of like the actual score is synth. I mean, there's actual other songs on there that are like just pop songs. But yeah, there's definitely a good amount of synth on here for you to listen to. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's my list. I know I kind of blew through it kind of quick. Like I said, I just didn't want my camera to die. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I got for you today. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Let me know you guys like what I'm doing. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And let me know in the comment section below other movies with great synth soundtracks. I've really been getting into synth even more lately, and I want to expand it. I want to listen to it. Or even if you know bands that's not even movie soundtracks that are just really good bands that have really good electric kind of music, let me know, because I want to start delving deeper into that. Let me know in the comments, guys. You guys are amazing as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.